Hi, it's me, Kathy Baldwin, your host of Unlearn the Crap and Level Up. Today is really interesting because the question came up, what if the crap you've been working so hard to heal wasn't even yours? That's where my conversation with Lori Ellen went today. We dug into how ancestral DNA, generational patterns, and cultural conditioning quietly run our lives until we finally stop and ask, does this even belong to me? Lori got real about the frustration of thinking you've got it cleared all by now, only to have another layer surface. And we laughed because we both know the truth. Unlearning isn't a finish line, it's a lifelong level up process. I also love that Lori and I are standing shoulder to shoulder on the same mission. She asked me to be a guest on her Soul-Led Business Summit on October 9th this year, where I'll be sharing finally my podcast automation system, and she'll be guiding you with her soul cartography. We both believe that starting a business can be scary, but if you begin with tools like hers and communities like this, you can collapse the timeline and speed up your success. I am passionate about people becoming totally empowered, and I am really proud to be a part of this summit. So if you've ever felt stuck in patterns that aren't yours or wondered how to take the next brave step in your own business, this episode is going to speak straight to your soul. Let's get started.
Welcome to Unlearn the Crap TV with your host, Kathy Baldwin. Unlearn the Crap TV is more than just a show. It's a movement towards breaking free from the disempowering structures designed to benefit the few at the expense of the many. It's about education, healing, and unlearning the detrimental beliefs that have been ingrained in society for generations. So now, please welcome the host of Unlearn the Crap TV, Kathy Baldwin.
Welcome to another episode of Unlearn the Crap and Level Up. Your soul is calling. I'm your host, Kathy Baldwin. And for those of you who are new to the channel, let me explain what the definition of crap is. It is an acronym, and that acronym stands for the conditioned responses in automatic programming. The things that go into our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, whether it comes from our ancestral DNA or it's programmed through marketing or society. However it happens, our thoughts are mainly on autopilot, and that drives our emotions, which affects our hormones, our biochemistry, our electromagnetic energy that we are sending out. It is a direct connection to our gut microbiome, our health, and our external circumstances, our wealth, our relationships, the success that we have in our lives. Everything is interconnected and interrelated, and everything matters. Thank you, Lori, for being a part of the show. Before we dive into this conversation, I'm going to ask you the question I ask every single guest first. What crap did you need to unlearn so that you could level up?
Well, that's a loaded question because there's a lot. As you well know, there's so many layers that can come up, and you think you clear some crap and then some more comes up, and then you clear a little more and then a little more comes up. But I would say one of the biggest things was learning to own my voice and be willing to step out and stretch my edges to share my story and help other women.
Oh, I love that. That is one of the most fundamental reasons why I do this podcast is for everyone to get their voice. So now that you've unlearned that crap, how are you leveling up and serving the world with that voice?
Well, good thing you asked. I am known as the Soul-Led Business Pathfinder. And it's because I've lived through trauma and I've turned my pain into purpose that I am able to help other women who have like your women, have a lot of the conditioning, a lot of the layers of things telling them of who they are not. And it's really helping them to own who they are. They feel like they have a calling. They've done the inner work. They know that they're meant for more. And I help them bridge that gap from where they are to taking that calling and turning it into a business that not only serves others, but serves them as well.
Oh, now you know why I wanted you on this podcast. I mean, you could not be more aligned with everything that I do and say, because I believe that every single one of us has crap that we need to unlearn, and that our soul is called. There's a yearning, there's a calling that's happening in our world, in our society, but it's also within us. And it's time that each and every person understands that the power resides within them.
Yes. And when you embrace that and really own that part of yourself, and when I say own it, I'm talking about owning all the good stuff as well as owning all the shadows. Because those shadows, the things you've been through, it's honoring them as gifts that your soul chose that path for a higher purpose. How can you use that to serve in a greater way and in your highest expression?
Yeah. Yeah. I was one of those people that was so ingrained in the shoulds of what was expected of me, that for me, my journey led to being too strong for too long, letting the medical community over medicate me to deal with the symptoms of being out of alignment with who I am and where I belong. And eventually, you can only operate out of alignment for so long and you will break. Just
Yes.
like a house can only sit on an uneven foundation for so long, eventually it will crumble. That crumbling is what broke me so that I could break open. And my mission and my vision right now is to catch people before they have their breakdown so that they can stop the process at any time. Did
I
you
love
follow
that.
my path, or did you catch yourself early?
Well, no, it took me quite a while. So in my work, I use human design. And with that, if anyone knows that's watching human design, I'm what's a 6-line profile, which means I have 3 stages in life. My first 30 years, it's all about being in it, experiencing it. Then 30 to 50, it's healing and learning. So I went through this phase from 30 to 50 of healing, learning, um, figuring it out, surrendering, being vulnerable. Those were really 2 big things that I had to redefine what those words meant for me. I think that was my biggest turning point, was redefining what it meant to surrender. Growing up in trauma, surrender meant something entirely different. But when you surrender to spirit, source, the universe, whatever you want to identify with, to me, it was that soul connection I had with spirit. Surrendering that way meant you were fully safe and you could take the steps forward. And being vulnerable, also a term that in the past, being vulnerable wasn't good, but I realized there's a safe way to hold your vulnerability. And that's where I'm at now, I'm vulnerable enough to share my story, to bring it to other women, to say, you're not broken. There's nothing wrong. You don't need to be fixed. Right? Because we can hold those things to think there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
It's all, sometimes it's my fault, but then it's also there's something wrong with me because I can't get past this. And being vulnerable, surrendering, opening myself up to the possibilities and opportunities that the world can bring, just that was the moment that turned things around, when I said, you know what, my soul chose my life because it knows I'm a badass that can go through whatever it is and come out on the other side and use it to help other people.
Yeah. One of the principles of Unlearn the Crap is that we live in a world of universal laws. And one of the strongest laws we live in is we live in a world of polarity. We can only experience light with dark, cold with hot. We must have those extremes. And I always believed that, or I believe that our challenges, our pains, our conflicts, our traumas are the direct polar opposite of our gifts, of where we belong. And I love the way you phrased how you took vulnerability where it was disempowering and you turned that into empowering. Could you explain how surrender and vulnerability changed for you? Because you're right, when you're thinking of trauma and you think surrender, you think defeat or
Yeah,
victim or fear instead of in flow.
right. Well, I think it comes from my deeper sense of something bigger at hand. Some people identify it as God, spirit, the universe. And when I was younger, I was afraid to believe in any of that because I thought, well, then I'll be tested. And then my life is already hard enough. So why would I want that and invite that into my life? That was my frame of mind. So I didn't allow that to be part of who I was until much later in life. When I started to do the healing, to do the learning, to doing the forgiveness, the releasing, right? Because surrendering to the flow means you're stepping into your power and you're being guided, and it's not all the weight on your shoulders to have to carry it all. So I believe there's life happens to you, which means you're a victim.
Yep.
Then life happens by me, which means it's all on me to have to change it, to make it work. I have to do it. It's got to happen by me. Then there's happens through you, which is where, we're striving and living, is when it happens through you, you're surrendering and you're trusting spirit to come through you. And you have that faith to take the steps that you're guided to do. And then the last one is as me. And that's like the ultimate, which I don't know how many of us hold that as a consistent unless you are, Jesus or or one of the Buddhas or something. So through me allows you to have that peace, to be able to feel safe, to be able to shift that definition from vulnerable as being bad to vulnerable meaning, oh, I have the power to share my story and be vulnerable with people because they can still love and accept and trust, and they may learn and grow. They may step out of their own fears. They may step out of their own conditioning when they go, oh, it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. As you were talking and you gave those 4 stages, all that was coming into my mind is that we are both energetic beings and we are physical beings. And so, as you were talking, I was thinking about how the energy of our electromagnetic being is directly connected to the earth. And so,
Mm-hmm.
if we think about lightning, we can be struck by lightning, and if it goes through us, it doesn't harm us. But if we're not grounded that it can pass through, it can electrocute us.
Yes.
And that's,
That's a
as you were talking about
wonderful.
that, I was thinking how those different stages, it can either be empowering and safe or very dangerous.
Yes. Yes. And when it comes through you, it is that power, not in the sense of, I'm powerful, but it's a powerful energy that comes through you that, sometimes I talk. and I don't even know, like, I'm not logically thinking of what I'm saying or what I'm going to do, but something comes through me to speak to the person I'm talking to, and it's exactly what that person needed to hear. But I didn't personally have to think about what they needed to hear. It's something that just came through me. I've written a book that way. It came through me. I've created my system called soul cartography, where I map out your life's chosen path using human design and astrology. It came through me. It's not something I sat down and said, let me figure this out. It was just whoosh, this, oh my gosh, the picture came clear.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. That's exactly how Unlearn the Crap was born. I was learning and absorbing. And when I got rid of all the blocks that were blocking me from it, it integrated and the picture became so clear. It was like instant knowing.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so tell
And
me
it's
more about this whole cartography. I want to know more about it. This
well,
sounds so exciting.
so I've many, many, many years ago is when I knew my soul chose my life. I honored it, as opposed to, I've heard so many people say, well, my soul wouldn't have chosen that. Well, yes, it would, because it came with a higher mission, and we all came with a higher mission. And it wasn't until years ago I started learning human design. I fought it a little bit, was like, no, I don't want to be known for that, or I don't want to use that. And then it just kept coming to me. And then all of a sudden, I started putting these pieces together of certain times in our developmental life that certain gates are aligned, and they're certain in astrology, the house and sign. And I started seeing the pattern. I was able to see the core wounds that we bring into our lifetime that's helping us to awaken us to who we are. I started seeing Chiron is the wounded healer, and it's what you brought into this lifetime so that you are here to help other people with. And it just became this beautiful system that when I stopped and looked at it, I was like, I just created that? Like, what? But it goes through like 0 to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 21, all those life developmental stages in childhood. And then I go into the cycles of our adulthood. And it really helps to empower the person that is receiving that, because you can see, oh, so during my 0 to 7, when I'm learning safety and security, I'm able to help them identify some of the higher lessons that were in that. When you made something up about yourself, like mom was on the phone and you're tugging at her and saying, I want a cookie. And she's like, stop it right now. I'm on the phone. Leave me alone. You could make that mean she doesn't love me. And then you could have a certain association with food or love. You know, there's things that you say, I don't like what happened, like subconsciously, I don't like what happened. So I'm not going to ask for what I want anymore.
Mm.
Right. And if you start to learn what happened during those stages, you can find power in it when you start seeing the higher expressions of what was going on a solar level, on a human design level. And that's part of your blueprint. You were here to learn that lesson and then
Can
use it
you
for
give
strength.
an example of a core wound that would allow us to see our soul purpose? Because so many people are of what you were saying earlier, that so many people say, well, I wouldn't have chosen that. Well, they're of this belief that life is supposed to be easy and simple and not challenging, and we're not supposed to have pain, and we're not supposed to have anything bad happen, and life is supposed to be this fairy tale.
I
This is
agree.
crap that we were told. We are
Yep.
stronger than that. We are bigger than that. We are more powerful than that.
And when I went through that stage where I thought it was me, it was my problem. There was something wrong with me because life wasn't happy and I was just in struggle. Right now, there is a time when I was just stuck in the life's happening to me stage. But when you realize life isn't supposed to be just, if I'm happy, everything is going well. That's not how we learn in life. And it's embracing all the ups, all the downs, and knowing you can still have your constant source of strength of who you are, no matter if you're in your highs or in your lows. Because when you really are in your true self, I think I froze. Oh, when you're really in your true self, then when it does get hard, you will handle it differently than you would have when you're stuck in the life's happening to me stage.
Yeah, because
You don't get
hard
sucked
is
into the
relative.
drama of it.
Yeah, hard is relative. What is
Yeah,
hard to a kindergartner is easy for someone in high school. And
right,
so hard is just how we define it based on what stage of development we're in.
right. And when you realize life is made of cycles, it's not supposed to be just one constant happy, blissful, and if I'm in joy, then I'm doing everything right.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. There's a cycle, just like we have seasons. We have spring, everything's blooming, it's beautiful. We have summer, then fall, the leaves are falling. We have winter, everything's shed. And then we have that contemplation. And so it's we as human beings go through that as well, just with our life path. Like we're walking
Yep.
down this path and it's just a new scenery that comes along. But if you are standing strong in who you are, that new scenery can come along and you'll be able to like, oh, okay, this is happening. Why what's in this for me that is showing up that I can, utilize for the highest good? Like when something happens, like what am I going to do with that? I can get sucked into it and just like, oh my God, I got a flat tire, right? And this
Uh,
sucks.
yeah. Absolutely. If we don't understand the universal law of rhythm and the cycles that are out there, how could a farmer know when to plant? You would
Exactly.
feel if you were planting in the fall and then where's my harvest and it died, it is understanding the seasons and how to benefit from them that we can use that. So let's go back to core wounds.
Okay.
We
And
got
then
off
I would
topic.
like, yeah, well, I would like to share really quick about when you were talking about planting, because I think it's important for people to get when you plant a seed, you don't always see the benefits right away. But that seed is working hard in the dark, it's struggling, it's got to move through the dirt, move through the rocks so that it can come to the light. When we're having those moments of hard times, we're just that seed that's blooming and erupting and coming into the light. And that's all it is. So we can
Yeah.
stand in that seed that knows exactly what it is. If it's an apple seed, it knows it's an apple tree. So as it's pushing through and struggling to get to the surface, it's not questioning itself and saying, am I going to be a good peach tree? Should I be an olive tree? Like, what should I? No, it knows I'm an apple tree and it goes there and it moves through what it has to move through and holds strong to who it is.
Yes.
So
And
I'll give
and
you an
that
example.
that
Oh,
that
go
is
ahead.
the definition of empowerment is know thyself and
Yes.
become aligned with yourself. I love this. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to
So
interrupt.
an
You got me so
example
excited.
I'll use for me. So in human design, gate 35 is my core wound, and it's all about adventure, right? So in a healthy way, it means I step into new experiences. I don't have a problem with that. But in a lower expression way, if I'm bored and I just switch because I'm bored, that means I'm not using it to its full strength. That means, oh, or this is hard. Let me just change gears and I'll just ignore that. But when you ignore something, it's going to come popping back around at you.
Oh, yeah.
So it's learning what you're brought into this lifetime as your core wound. And I can look back in my life and see where I switched because it was either hard or I was bored and it wasn't, because when you do anything and you step on an adventure, you don't get halfway up the mountain and go, all right, well, I'm done with this. Let me go back down. And I would keep stopping myself and not continue up through the hard part to reach the summit, to reach that top. So when I could start to embrace, like, oh, I see this pattern that I keep doing, I then
Mm,
could identify it. And when you can identify something, you then can have power over it.
yeah. One of the things I absolutely love is used to be a stock trader. And so I learned about Fibonacci's. And when I learned about Fibonacci's and the golden ratio and how we have these repeated patterns in nature, everything is a pattern. And when we can see and understand the pattern, then we can make conscious choices, which is, I don't know if you've heard, but I just recently released a book called The Unlearn Life, where I am using AI to help me identify my patterns. So when I'm stuck in something and I can't see the forest for the trees, I can give AI all of that information and say, help me see what I can't see. How did you get the clarity of sight without AI?
So I think I'm a course junkie or a healing junkie. I don't know what to call it, but I took a lot of courses. I read a lot of books. My path is I went inward first so that I could integrate. And then from that integration, I could then help other women.
Mm,
And, once I got into my 50s and I started coming out online, I started having some well, I've had those before, some physical issues show up. But the biggest thing was finding a group of women where there was no expectation for you to show up as anything other than who you are, that they could hold you when you're up, hold you when you're down, and just be there and allow you to be you, and you in turn allow them to just show up as them. Having that kind of support system, I
mm,
think, was a huge turning point for me doing the work I do.
yeah.
I did a lot on my own. Growing up, I felt like I had to be strong, had to do it on my own. The healing and learning, doing it all on my own. But I did the integration work. But to really, really break free, and it goes back to that being vulnerable, joining a group and being in a community of other women, game changer, like beyond.
Absolutely. One of the things that I feel strongly about is the disempowerment and that we have been experiencing has been because women were being pitted against each other. And
Mm-hmm.
that bond of support that women have had through history has been broken in the last couple of hundred years.
Yeah.
And we are lost without our sisterhood,
Right.
because women then have to step into their masculine in order to be supported. And that's not where we're in our authentic goddess, where we are connected to our creative energy, our magical alchemy, to be able to transmute what we have into something beautiful, creative and chaotic and wild and sensual and all these other things. We can't do that if we're being forced to be controlled and structured because we don't have that support.
Or when you feel like you have to just do it alone.
Yeah.
And like I have my work and I do my work, but I have this, no one else is doing my work for me, but I have this group that just feels like a safe haven of people that are just like rooting for you and boosting you up. And it feels good to have somebody that's got your back, and or that you can just say, man, I'm having a really tough day, or man, you know what, I just completed like, so, I'm doing the summit, right? The Soul Led Business Summit. Having some people to share and just say, I'm doing this summit and I am so excited that I'm going to invite 18 speakers to come and talk at this summit, and they could cheer you on. And that I think too is we forget to celebrate, especially when we're doing it by ourselves. We forget to celebrate the steps. We can tend to focus on all the other things that we have to do yet, as opposed to like, but look what I done. Like, ooh,
Yeah.
like
Well,
we don't pat ourselves on the back. So we have
a-
people that help and remind us to.
absolutely. First of all, I'm one of the speakers on your summit, and I am thrilled and excited to be a part of this because I am so believing in what you're doing and helping other people find their authenticity so that they can step into their zone of genius and make things better. But you touched on something that I want to talk about before we lose it and go into talking about the business and the summit and all of that. And that was, we have normalized the bad.
Mhm.
We're okay to complain. How are you? Oh, this hurts and this happened. And we have these contests where, oh, you think that's bad? Let me tell you what happened to me or what I'm going through. And we actually have turned it into a contest. Things are worse for me. No, they're worse for me. But we haven't normalized standing in our place of celebrating and saying, I got this, I did this, I'm proud
Yep.
of myself,
Yep.
and all these other things. So, thank you so much for saying that.
Yes. And when I personally left groups because there was that feeling of oh, well, this sucks or this, and there was no conversation of, well, this happened, it sucks, but I'm here to like make it better, ask myself some empowering questions. I'm here to turn it around. There's such a different feeling because it's important to share those moments that suck, but not to get sucked into the drama and staying at that negative, lower vibration of it.
Yeah,
That's the huge difference. Allow yourself
yeah,
to go through the cycles, the ups and downs, but stay in your higher vibrational frequency as opposed to getting sucked into the drama of the to me stage. That's all that is. It's victimhood.
yeah. We do need to feel our feelings. We do
Yes.
need to let those hormones, those chemicals go through our body. Otherwise, it turns into poison in us. So, it is healthy to be able to say, this hurt, or
Yes.
I'm struggling. But that's vulnerable. That's not whining and complaining.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the huge difference between the two of those. And the groups that I left was because I felt that energy of they just wanted to stay stuck in that. And I found the groups and the women and the people who held that higher vibrational pattern and allowed you, like I said, to show up, be you, but they're not there to support the whining, complaining. They don't jump into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That has been part of my transformation and my leveling up too, is finding those places and those people, because one of the trauma responses that people do, but a lot of women, is we isolate,
Hmm.
and we hide, and we feel, yeah, we feel that if we aren't performing at our absolute best, then we failed, and we can't let anyone know we failed, because now we will be judged, and if we're judged, we're cast out, and it goes right into our ancestral core wounds. So we're coming back to core wounds.
All right.
Lori, I want to talk about this summit, but we got to go to core wounds. What are core wounds? What do they look like? And what benefit do they give us to understand what core wounds we have?
Well, core wounds can look different for every single person. They're very unique depending on your DNA, your makeup when you were born, what you're bringing into this life, your life experiences, they all kind of culminate into that. A core wound is something for you to deeply learn.
Is it
And
archetypal?
it's my belief is, so in human design, there's a core wound. It's the unconscious Mars in human design. And the gate that's associated with it and the line is what is going to help you understand your core wound.
Okay.
It is something we brought into this lifetime, which will help us awaken by experiencing this core wound, which means it's part of the unpleasantries of life, right? We go through the struggle, the hard, but witnessing when it's showing up, what am I choosing? Am I choosing the victimhood of it, staying in the wound of it, or am I healing? Am I allowing myself to go through the process of embracing that part of myself? Because it's part of me. I can't deny it.
Yep.
So when
Yep.
you embrace it, when you fully embody it, you can then start to use it to awaken you to your patterns and then make choices from that place.
I'm pulling up my human design chart. I'd want to know, where will I see what my core wound is? Because anyone can pull up their human design chart. They need you to really work with it effectively. But if someone just wants to know, where would they find it?
So there's two sides of the chart. Depending on where you ran your chart, it might say personality and one says design.
Okay.
It could be conscious or unconscious. But the one that's the design side, there's a little circle that has an arrow that's pointing up from it. And that's
Okay.
called your unconscious Mars.
Okay, Lori, I just showed you my human design chart. I'm a manifester. I know that. Tell me what you saw as a core wound, because I really want people to understand that this core wound has a purpose.
It does. So your core wound is gate 64 and it's in line 6. What that
And that
means
means
in the core wound, if you go into a state of confusion, it can either stop you because you're confused. And if you think back in your life, like how, like, I don't know what to do next. And how does this work? And I need to have all the answers. And I'm a little bit confused. It can stop you. I personally call that gate the portal of imagination. But imagine in your shadow of it, you're not using your imagination and you're just stuck. You're stuck in what is, and you're confused about what to do next. It can hold you back. But when you allow yourself to step into the higher expression, you can let your imagination start to empower you into what's possible and not
okay.
know the answers.
So I'm one of those people, when my central nervous system gets triggered, I go into freeze. Is that what you're talking about?
That could very well do that because your mind is like, I don't know what to do. I'm stopped. I'm confused about what to do. It's holding you back. And you can, it's up in the head center. So that's the top one. If anybody's looking at a human design chart, it's the top little triangle. And it is the place where your imagination can run free with this gate. And it can be really powerful for you to open up with empowering questions and see the possibilities of what can be without being stuck to anyone in particular.
Do you know what I just realized? I told you that I wrote the book, The Unlearned Life, and it came out of how I use AI, ChatGPT, for my own. One of the
Mhm.
things that was major that I did was say, I need to see this. Help me envision what this looks like. Play with me with these thoughts. Make it real. And as soon as I could get my head into a place where I could have that clarity,
Yep.
now I'm not stuck anymore.
Yep. And that is you using that core wound in its highest expression. You have let go of being stopped and stuck by confusion, by limitation, and you're utilizing the higher expression of it by saying, oh, I can see and I can imagine this to be so in this way, but not being stuck that it has to be that particular way, or that I have to have all the pieces together before I allow myself to take the step. You can step into that vision.
So that is the beauty of knowing your human design and knowing yourself, is that when you have these situations happen, now you already have a set of tools that says, oh, when this happens, I can do this.
Yes. And how, just like you were saying, what you unlearn, it's knowing there's shadows to each one of the gates in human design. So when you start to learn, oh, I can step into this shadow, but I can see what the gifts are. And then you can start to embrace that part of you, and then it can transform into the higher expression, but embracing everything through the process, knowing that that shadow that you are expressing is part of your design. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just you unlearning the things that you were conditioned to think you were or were not. And it's really
Yes.
empowering when you
Yes.
can step into that. And I'm co-hosting the summit, and then from that summit we're doing a workshop, but it's Dana and I, and we do a mastermind. It's called Design to Serve, and it's where it's only
Ooh.
for women. And we focus on helping women get visible by getting really clear on who they serve, what their messaging is, what kind of program, course, one-on-one, what suits you and your energy. Because a business shouldn't just be, I'm here to serve others. Your business should also serve you from your soul. It's not separate from your soul, it's your soul's mission.
Yeah. And if you are doing a business that's out of alignment with who you are, you're not going to be providing the service at the level that you can. So you're
Correct.
doing a disservice, and you're going to end up getting sick. So let's talk about the summit. How did you envision this? How did you create this? What was the vision that you wanted to bring to life?
I am highly driven to help other women. Like, that is, I think, in the core of me, to help women to own who they are. And to me, it's not only the women who will be attending, but I'm also serving and supporting all of the speakers, all the people who are coming to talk and help the women. Now, we do have one or two men that are going to be talking, but they bring, I'm a Virgo. I have to have some practical stuff in there. So I have some CRM information and some merchant information for you to help with your business side of things. But I just, from my heart, I felt introducing other people to help them in their service, like, that just tickles me pink. Like, I get excited thinking I am supporting others to bring their service to other people, to new people. And all of the people attending are going to receive so much information. And another important factor to me is everyone has a little bit of a different take, a little bit of different what they're going to talk about, right? So some are talking about visibility, some are talking about how to speak, some are human design related, some are talking about insurance, right? There's a whole bunch of different types of things they're going to be talking about, because I wholeheartedly believe what my way is isn't necessarily your way. And I
That's
want to
right.
give you options to see what resonates with you. So I wanted to bring together a plethora of people to come and speak, so you could hear different viewpoints. You can connect and resonate with who connects with you, who is on that level that when you hear their voice, you're like, oh, I want to know more.
So, who's the summit for? Is it for women who are already in business or women who are considering transitioning into business?
Well, that would actually, it's a soul-led business summit. So it's for a spiritually aware woman who has a calling. Whether you are working a 9 to 5 and you have a calling, but you don't know how you can turn that calling into a business, or it could be you're starting, but you haven't quite bridged from, okay, I know that I'm here to do more and serve more, but I haven't gotten over here yet to make it happen.
Yeah.
Or you've been trying, like this is my personal experience, tried for years and years, and I'm like, it's not working. What's going on? And until I could get the pieces and understand some of the other parts of running the business and connect with the people that I needed to connect with, right? So it's for that woman who's just been struggling. She's stuck. She hasn't fully stepped in, claimed who she is, and say, I'm here to serve whoever their ideal client is, whoever that is. They haven't had the confidence to do it. Maybe they haven't found what suits their energy. Like you said, you're a manifester. I'm a manifesting generator. My co-host is a projector. We have totally different energy types, right? So it's when you
Yes.
start to
And
learn your energy.
yeah, for me, I thought because I had this knowledge and I'd gone through this massive transformation that I was responsible for coaching. And so my business evolved into coaching, a desire to help, to heal. But it was a struggle, and I was going down wrong paths of people telling me. And it wasn't until I learned that I was a manifester and realized I was never designed to be in the weeds. My brain is a big picture thinker. And when somebody's looking for a coach, they want someone in the weeds, someone who's detail oriented, somebody who can help guide them step by step. And when I learned that, I went, I don't have to do this. That's not who I am. I was freed. Yes. And
It is,
that's
it's
when I came
liberating.
alive.
Yes. And that's what I want for women, to come alive in being who you truly are. Come alive within yourself, because it shines, like it just comes through you. There's nothing you have to do that's outside of you. It's when you start to naturally have it come through you, of really loving and being alive with who you are. You're still going to have the ups and downs, but you're going to handle it differently. And then you're going to take the steps that are leading you down your path, right? And knowing that you can now trust yourself to make the choices when you're following.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the whole thing, is trusting the road ahead of you.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I was so excited to be a part of your summit is because of this paradigm shift that our world is in. And I believe with every ounce of my soul that we are being called to bring our power to the individual. That we are moving away from massive corporations that have the control and the power, and we are moving in more into entrepreneurship, very much like we were before we were an industrialized revolution. Somebody
Right.
was a baker and somebody was a farmer and somebody was a seamstress. Like, everybody was doing their own thing that was part of the entire community, and I think we're going back there. But there are so many people who have this crap, the conditioned responses, that say I'm supposed to be a JOB, or this is how my life has evolved and this is where I am and I don't know how to start over. And I love that you're bringing these people together so that we can all be exposed to enough different perspectives and ideas that it'll arrive for people instead of them forcing.
Yes. Very much so. I think that's very poignant what you just said, because so many times when we're in the buy me stage, it's I'm forcing something to happen. I know personally when I was in that stage, when I would force things to happen, like I know this is the right thing, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. Every time falls over.
Yeah,
It
soldier
was
on,
not
put on our big
right.
girl panties. Let's.
Right. Suck it up, do it. You got, and I know this is the right thing, so I'm going to make it happen instead of allowing myself to just follow my own rhythm and flow.
Mm,
Because when I would force it, it inevitably didn't work out. And then I was just
yeah.
frustrated. I was disappointed. I lived in like, oh, what's wrong with me? I didn't, that bombed or that didn't work. How come I couldn't make it work? I know that that's what I was supposed to, and all the inner chatter just started talking to me and stuff. Yeah. So it's releasing the fact that you have to force something to happen and start to learn to trust your instincts, start to trust yourself to make the choices. And that when you're stepping into the flow, you still have to do hard things, but you can step into the flow and you can handle everything that comes at you.
Yeah, hard things are different than trying to force and
Yeah.
push and control, because we come back to right where we started this conversation, which
Mhm.
was surrender and vulnerability. And you were saying how when you let go of that control and you surrendered, the information arrived. It was already there. It was just being blocked by that wall.
Right. I say it's like you have the horses that have blinders on, right? That's what it's like. And when you can let down and you take those off, like, oh, there's more around me. I can see more things and more things can come in, but you've created this singular focus, this limited way of looking at things.
Yeah.
But when you can let those blinders and take those off, that's when the stuff can start coming in, when you can start trusting the data that's going to come to you, trusting the inspirations.
Yeah. Yes. And that is a physical part of our body too, because our brain only allows in that which we have deemed important. And if we are blocking access to the opportunities or the possibilities because we are so stuck on soldiering on, our brain can't even receive what's right in front of us as opportunities or possibilities or inspiration.
Or when you're living in your limiting beliefs,
Yes, you're crap.
right? When you're living in the fear of not being enough or the fear of being too much,
Mm-hmm.
right? The fear of failure, the fear of success. And fear and love, they don't live in the same space. You have to choose one or the other.
Mm. Yes, yes. I always say that fear is the warning sign. The
Mm-hmm.
warning sign that says you are no longer on automatic pilot. You need to make a decision and take control of the wheel. And so, if we're feeling fear, that is our body saying, you're going the wrong way. Could you make a U-turn at the nearest available?
Or, I also found fear shows up when you're at your edge of success. Or I don't even like the word success for that. Fear shows up when you're at the edge of stretching yourself beyond the boundaries that you've set for yourself. So when I started coming online, wow, did my trauma fear start to show up? It
Yeah,
was like, no, you can't do this, because it was just a fear, even though it's what I know I'm here to do and I'm guided
yeah,
to do. It wasn't that
yeah,
I had to not do it, but I had to learn to love my body enough to say, I
yeah,
understand that you're in a fear response. And at that moment when I was in that position of like, oh my God, I had an anxiety attack, first one ever. I thought, I can't do this. I can't be online. I just can't. And logically, my brain was going, this isn't a big deal. I don't understand what's going on. Like, my brain was thinking, not a big deal. My body, on the other hand, was like, I don't know if I can cuss, but I would if I could right now on your program.
You
But it was,
can.
all right, my body was saying, fuck you. I don't trust you. You can't do this. And it lasted for a whole day. And the next day, I just put my hands up and I said, if this is something I need to do, you need to help me because I can't. And I surrendered.
Mm.
And I got my answer within 10 minutes. Right. And it was something, a video that I could watch. And I literally like, oh, I understand this. It was scientific. I love science. And it was like, oh, I can do this. Did the exercise. That day I did the video again. Now it wasn't perfect and I was okay with that, but I did it. I celebrated. I looked at the camera a couple times and I smiled a couple times. And it was like, I did it. And then I did it again the next day and the next day. So sometimes it's the fear shows up because you're stretching yourself beyond the confines of what your normal is. But when you're growing and expanding, you're going to push those edges.
Yes.
And that's why
Yes.
it's great to have people around you who will support you in that and not go, oh, well, then just don't do it.
Yeah.
They can ask you the questions or help you through it to know, is it something you should not do? Or is it something you're just at your edge and we're here to support you while you're going through it?
Yeah. Well, that could not be a better segue to inviting everyone to your summit. Um, if people are listening to this after and they miss the summit, we will have in the show notes where they can reach you and find you. But in the meantime, for those who are going to see this and hear this in time, when is the summit? Who's it for? And how can they attend?
Okay, so the summit is October 9th, 10th, and 11th. Starts at 11 a.m. Eastern time each day. We have 6 speakers that are going to come on each day. So it's only a few hours. It's not an all day exhaust you kind of summit. And it is for spiritually aware women, soul led, you have a calling, and you want to serve in your highest expression, and you want to create something that has a foundation, something that you are supported in. And you're going to get lots of tidbits and information about how to be visible, how to speak, little information about yourself, the new era. We have somebody coming in talking about the new era, so that's kind of exciting. But yeah, it's filled with speakers that I chose because I knew they would serve and help the women that I know I'm called to serve.
Oh. Thank you, Lori, for being a guest on Unlearn the Crap. Thank you for inviting me to your Soul Led Business Summit. I can't wait to be there. For those of you who are wondering what I'll be talking about, I will be talking about how podcasters can turn their podcast into a profitable business without a team and without burnout, because I've created an entire automation system that will hold and support. And so I'm going to share how to make it a profitable system for podcasters so that they can bring their voice to the world.
I
And I
love that. I
encourage.
love that you're bringing that.
Yes, yes, yes. Talking about full circle, your unlearning was to get your voice back, and I'm going to be talking about how people can create a business out of their own voice. Thank you, Lori. I can't wait to see you on October 9th. And I encourage everyone who is listening to check Lori out. Hopefully you can make it to the summit. You hear this in time. But if you didn't, remember she has her soul cartography that can help guide you so that you can have your own epiphanies. Time to challenge everything so that you can achieve anything. Your soul is calling you to level up. And I am Kathy Baldwin, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode of Unlearn the Crap. Thanks for watching. Thank you for listening to the Unlearn the Crap and Level Up podcast. If this conversation spoke to you, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and leave a review. That simple act helps amplify this important work of unlearning the crap that holds us back. This show is built on the foundation of my 3 books: Unlearn the Crap and Level Up, Your Soul is Calling, a roadmap to release what no longer serves you. How I Unlearned My Crap, which is my raw story of breaking free and the patterns that I needed to unlearn. And the 3rd book, The Unlearned Life, an AI-powered ritual system for truth transformation and personal empower. If you're a podcaster or you want to be, this is for you, because 85% of podcasts fail, not because of the message isn't powerful enough, but because the back end can be overwhelming. I created the Finally Podcast automation system so your voice doesn't become a statistic. Your message is too important to be silenced by burnout, tech chaos, or even wasted time. My mission is to support not only my guests and you, the audience, but also every podcaster who's ready to level up. So until next time, keep unlearning, keep leveling up,